Punch, 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 transfer this data into code. That's NM156.
My number 156 is shown.
That's right. Yes.
So are you
Um,
starting off with that?
I'm starting off with that. Yeah, because it's relevant. It's relevant. It's sci-fi futuristic stuff. It's relevant. Um,
Right.
so yeah, well, I mean, everyone knows, well, not everyone knows me. That sounds, if you're watching this, you might know me. I'm Jack Mangan. I'm rocking the Bernie's Hillside Lounge from New Jersey's t-shirt. And yeah, we from Support Life and Music, MetalAsylum.net. Done some writing at Metal Hall of Fame. I've done occasional freelance appearances over at Metal Voice and a bunch of other stuff. But enough about me. Well, let's
Well,
go
it's
to the
actually
whiskey.
about you today, right? So it's me and Mark are taking the helm for part of this.
Cool. I
You
appreciate
know,
it. It's very
you're
cool.
the guy with the book out. So,
Yeah. Well, I
well,
appreciate it. Thanks, Rich,
I
for
am Rich. You guys know me from Metal Asylum, and I write for Brave Words and the Metal Hall of Fame, and I do the new wave of traditional heavy metal episodes over at Sea of Tranquility too. And we are joined with our friend Mark, who's going to be more recurring, right, over here at Metal Asylum, helping us out, talking about metal and stuff, right?
I will take the gig. Yes, please. I am the editor-in-chief over at Whiskey Network. My job is to talk to people about whiskey and metal. I am a contributor at the new wave of traditional heavy metal. I don't want to spell it out, but if you just go the and then the initials NWOTHM, I just did what I said what I wasn't going to do. But I do video interviews and I do album reviews over there. And I contribute now to Metal Asylum. Here, let me pencil that into the bottom of my resume.
Yeah, you just did a show. What was the show you're at?
What?
yeah. Yeah, the cool show that you covered. And actually you left out an important part of your resume there. I'm not saying anything, but you left out.
Oh yeah, I do a couple things for Support Life and Music. Oh, the Durap show at the Viper Room?
Oh yeah, because you shared the pictures at Metal Asylum.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, my daring foray into rock photography. No, not at all. But an absolutely killer show at the Viper Room. The actress who was in the Hot for Teacher video was actually in the audience.
Oh, cool.
Total mind-blowing show. The kid has got it. And if you can hear it, Bodhi is joining me on the vocals over here. So um, if you get any background noise, you know that it's him.
Welcome, Bodhi.
There, I'll show you. We'll give you.
The Raps are a Canadian band, right?
Yes, he is from Quebec. Bodhi didn't like me picking him up. So yes, he drove 60 hours to get from Eastern Canada to Los Angeles to play the
Wow.
Viper Room show. So it was absolutely fantastic. They were done
That
with that, and then they were going to go over to the whiskey, and he was going to play a couple songs on stage. I happened to catch him just up on Sunset just for a hot minute. So yeah, if
was it
that's
packed? Do people know the dude? Was it
it was
packed?
it was packed enough. There were some people in the room. I heard some people stopping him, and they were like, "Hey, I've followed you for a few years," and there were some pretty ecstatic fans in the audience that were happy as hell to see him in Los Angeles. So, first
Mm.
time, definitely don't think it's going to be the last time, but get in early on this one because the kids got it.
Yeah, it's Jack got me into that group, and it's what a three piece, right? I think.
Yes, he is currently a three-piece. Yes.
Yeah,
He's
it's
handling the vocal
literally.
vocal
Yeah.
duties himself. He's got a very competent back line with him, but the star
Oh,
of the show is obviously his guitar ability.
oh my God,
Yeah.
dude! It's like it's David Lee Roth Van Halen meets White Lion.
That's a great way of putting it. I was gonna say there's a connection, not musically, like I don't hear musical parallels, but there's a parallel
Mhm.
between him and Jared James Nichols, who's another guy he leads a three piece and he does all the guitar and vocals and he's an absolute phenom. He's like a generational talent. That's what I think of when I see videos or listen to this guy.
I have seen Jared James Nichols also at the Viper Room. Jared James Nichols is 12 feet tall and
Yes.
weighs 400 pounds, not in a bad way. The guy is built like a brick smokestack. Um,
Wow.
Plays guitar without a pick.
Oh.
He finger picks everything on his guitars. He has twin sister. I know I'm going to botch this, but he has vintage Gibsons. And if you actually look at some of the social media that he posts, I did an interview with him probably 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
Mm.
As you say, once in a generation talent. Um, I've seen him actually a couple of times, and he does a great cover of Man in the Box.
Oh,
But he has all original stuff, and he is the real deal. Fantastic.
Yeah. And in fact, when we saw him at NAMM in the hallway, he's like, "Hey, Mark." So Mark is, if you think Mark isn't cool, you're right. Mark is not cool.
I'm definitely not cool.
But Jared James Nichols thinks he's cool, so that gives him a couple of points in his favor. Because I was
there you
impressed. I was like, wow, Jared. It's not just like, oh yeah, you're that guy. He's like, Mark, I got to tell you something. So like, and
I,
yeah,
I would
Jared's the
I
real
would
thing.
love to point out that this is Jack that's saying that. So when the publicists come after someone, they please go after Jack for saying that there is some sort of connection. But yes, he told me a great story. Just very briefly, he almost bought a house that was made with reclaimed wood from a distillery. And I was all over that. I think there's some news that's coming on that horizon. I think he has a partnership coming up, but not my place to say at the moment. I've reached out to the appropriate folks, and I'm going to be hella excited to support that when it comes out. So
He does have a new record coming this year too, by the way. This has become the Jared James Nichols show. But yeah, so Jared James Nichols. Um,
Well, before we go into talking to you, Jack, about your book, since we're talking about shows, I just saw Testament, Overkill, and Destruction here in New Jersey at the Starland Ballroom over the weekend. So I got the pictures posted up on Metal Asylum, the Facebook page. You guys can check them out. Did you guys get to see that tour yet? Did it come through by you?
no, it's coming here. Pardon me, it's coming out here soon,
Okay.
mid-April. So I'm stoked, super stoked. Some three bands that I absolutely love. So can't wait.
Right.
yes, if someone has a ticket available for the Los Angeles show, I would absolutely love to tag along to that show because it is sold out. They have it in a criminally small venue and it's sold out
Oh
almost
yeah.
immediately. So yes, I would and I slept on it, but hey, that's a different story.
In New Jersey, they played the Starland Ballroom, and the place was sold out. Also, it was packed, and that holds over 1,000.
Don't
Excellent.
quote me, maybe the Belasco, I think is where it is. Which is a beautiful venue here in downtown Los Angeles, but
Hmm.
bottom line is that it's sold out. So, and Mark's looking for a ticket.
Well, tell us a
We'll
little
get
about
there.
the show, Rich. There's great
I
photos. You
was
got
going to
you got
say, get there early enough for Destruction because here on the East Coast they went on about 6:50. They played until 7:30. The Killer, just great. A few classics from the '80s, of course, like the Mad Butcher and Bestial Invasion, and then they did a couple newer songs. Um, awesome, Schmear is the bass player, singer. They got two guitarists now because usually they were Destruction was a three-piece with just one guitar for many years, so now they're a four-piece with two guitars. It's awesome. People loved it too. They were in the crowd singing. What did they do? Thrash till death and nail to the cross, and the whole crowd knew it. It was really cool to see that in America. Um,
awesome.
and then Overkill played how many songs? 9 songs, I think.
And
Some
they have a good set list too. I saw the set list that you posted. I can't wait for Deny the Cross. I don't think I've heard that
yeah,
since the '80s. Like
they dusted off Deny the Cross.
Did they play Cracked Brain? That's my favorite Destruction song.
Oh no, I'm talking about Overkill, but Destruction did Bestial Invasion, The Mad Butcher, Curse the Gods, and maybe one other older song, and then there was
New
Thrash Till
stuff.
Death, Nailed to the Cross,
and
another newer
Destruction,
one. So it's like,
Destruction. Yeah,
what's that?
the new song Destruction that they came out.
Right, Destruction. Yeah, they closed with that one. And
Very nice.
Overkill did Scorched, The Surgeon from the latest album, Rotten to the Core, Elimination.
Elimination.
Elimination. What else? Dusted off Deny the Cross, which was awesome, but it was so funny. Um, Something happened with Dave's guitar. I think something happened with his amp or something, and the guitars went out for like half the song. Like the second verse into the solo, and then for the last half of the song. So it was pretty funny just hearing the bass and Blitz singing, and then there's no guitar solo, and you know. And then after the song, Blitz said to the crowd, he's like, to all you young guys out there in the bands, this is what you're doing. It happens. You just power through. Like nothing ever happened, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
yeah, it
pretty
was
cool.
good. It was cool.
It's been a
Um,
little thin for shows this beginning of this year. I haven't been to a ton of shows, but there's a few things
yeah,
coming up that look
they're
kind of
starting to come
interesting.
around. You know, it's the spring. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Testament played, let me see. They did 3 or 4 from the new record. I got to look at the set list now. For Love of Pain, Infanticide,
Intense
A1, I think,
AI.
and Shadow People. And then World War III is from the last album, isn't it? If I'm correct.
Yeah, it's from one of the recent ones. I don't know if
Sounds
it's
right.
the last one.
Yeah. And then there was Evil Has Landed and Henchman Ride from Formation and Damnation. That was cool. I like those two. That was after Into the Pit. And then they did John Doe, which I think is a total dud from Demonic.
Yeah, I can't even place that song in my head. I need to listen to
Yeah.
it.
It's not good.
You said
I
they
would
played, did they play Low? Did you say that they
They
played
did,
that?
yeah, they did Low, the Native Blood. Sins of Omission was cool from
Yeah,
Practice.
yeah,
And So Many Lies they dusted off as well from The Ritual.
yeah. That's a good deep cut.
Yeah,
And you
Nice.
said
and what
Very
else?
deep cut.
Yeah, and
Imperialist
then they
Nation, you
did the
said?
ballad. They did the ballad and then Over the Wall. So cool.
That's awesome. I've seen them, but I've never heard the ballad live, so that'd be cool too. It's just
Yeah.
such a classic.
Yeah. So mix of, couple they brought back, a couple of the staples, dusted off couple new ones. It was a good variety.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like you guys are saying, it's been light since I was out in California, for all those shows. Like I think that's it. I mean, my memory is what it is, but I think that's the last time I saw any shows was around NAMM, seeing the Montreux show and and
Mhm.
that stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Thrash of the Titans tour. That's
Yep.
Oh, and I'm seeing a couple of acts at AZ Bike Week too, Arizona Bike Week. Slam will be there at Arizona Bike Week. It's a big major
When's
event
that?
in Arizona. It's first week of April. So like I said, Slam will be there, and we got some incredible live acts playing. We got uh Black Stone Cherry. Don't call him Buck Cherry. There's two different bands. Black Stone Cherry is playing. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience
Hmm.
I'm crazy for that show, so I'm thrilled for that.
Have you seen
There's
that? Have you seen that previously?
I've seen it a bunch of times, and it's just to me, it's the ultimate. It's other than going back to the '70s in a time machine, it's the ultimate Led Zeppelin
I haven't
experience.
seen
And
it yet.
there's some real, Led Zeppelin USA are fantastic. I will not knock them either, but it's Jason Bonham, you
Yeah.
know. So no
Yeah.
offense to
Uh,
anyone else, Jason. You can't
I,
beat it.
so I'll set the scene. I got to see JBLZE. Yes, that's right. Had to think about that. I saw it at the Greek Theater last summer. So late summer evening, full evening with Jason Bonham, Led Zeppelin experience, like damn near a religious experience. So I will
Is it
second that if you have a chance, because I know he just booked a bunch of new dates, that is absolutely one to check out.
the singer? Does he sound like Robert Plant?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's phenomenal. He looks nothing like him. He's like a tall,
Blonde
tall.
or bald?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's fully shaved his head. Yeah, he looks nothing like him.
oh,
I'll say this. Yes, he sounds like him,
right.
but he's not trying to be Robert Plant. Yeah,
Hmm.
he has his own voice and he does his own thing. And there are times where he doesn't sound like it. And I'm not
Right.
saying that it's not connecting. I think he's great.
Mm.
Let me just start by saying that it's an absolutely fantastic show. But like if you're looking for note recreation, he does
Yeah.
come close, but he's his own voice for sure.
Like, have you guys ever heard of Almost Queen?
Not
Hmm.
them, but I know of. I've seen Queen Nation. I've seen some Queen cover.
Okay.
So
I don't know if they're specifically to this East Coast, but they're around a lot on this coast. I don't know if they come out that way, but they are basically Almost Queen. Like they dress in the costumes, they got the hair, wigs, whatever they got going on, and the singer sounds almost exactly like Freddie. I mean, you close your eyes sometimes, and between his singing and the guitar player, it's like almost literally it's the perfect name. It's Almost Queen. It's awesome.
So the guy you need to look up, and I had to look it up on my phone just now, is Mark with a C, spells his name wrong, whatever. Um, Mark with a C, Martell. He has the same facial structure as Freddie Mercury. It is
Mm.
eerie, like from the nose down, his face looks a little bit like Freddie Mercury, and
And is he in a tribute band?
he is in a Queen tribute act. He does a ton of
Mm.
videos on social media and he tours around and he has an absolutely phenomenal voice that is almost exactly the same thing. And I don't understand why he is not the lead singer of Queen. Like it's insane how good he is.
his band is One Vision of Queen. That's his cover
One
band.
Vision of Queen, that's correct,
Oh,
yes.
does it
And I
have
just
like tour dates where they go, Jack? When you look it up,
I just I looked at Wikipedia, so I mean
oh,
I could dig deeper. I will say, and I'm pretty sure they stick to the West Coast, but the one I saw live a couple of years
okay.
ago was Queen Nation, and they were excellent. And their Freddie Mercury looked exactly looked and sounded exactly like him,
Mm.
and just put on a phenomenal show. And yeah, some of the other guys wore wigs, and I was kind of like, that's clearly a wig, but
Mm.
I'm not there for the visuals. I'm there for the sound, and so I do recommend Queen Nation, but I will look up the other two. I'll look up both of them, Almost Queen and One Vision of
Mm.
Queen. There you go.
So since we're talking about concerts, before we talk about Jack and your book, so coming around since it's the spring, I'm looking at my phone here, my calendar. Is Halloween coming out by you guys in April? Because they're going to be here in New York, April 17th. Is that coming out
No,
your way?
they're going.
Yeah,
They're
I think
probably.
they're coming out later in that leg of the tour, yes.
Okay, and then we got Angel, which are doing their farewell tour. Remember the '70s band Angel,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
has a couple original members still in the band. I think it's two or three. They're doing a farewell tour.
and Charlie
Ravens,
Calv. Charlie
what's that?
Calv is in the band. Charlie Calv is in the band.
Yeah,
As
Charlie
well.
Calver, French Charlie. Yep. Raven is out there. With New Wave of British heavy metal band. They're on a tour.
They were
Uh,
just here. I was not able to go, but I'm sure they
yeah.
played a tiny place. I'm sure I don't know if that building's still standing.
Okay. Let's see. Then May, I got Tom Kiefer from Cinderella. He's going to be here, I think, at the Starland Ballroom. He's always awesome.
Always
Does
a great show.
Yeah, he's amazing. Does a good chunk of Cinderella plus his solo stuff he has.
Yeah, I saw him a
So
couple
that's
of.
in
Have you?
May.
So you've seen him solo?
Me?
Yeah. Or either
Yeah,
of
a
you
few
guys?
times. Mark,
Yeah.
could you see him?
I saw him once a long time ago,
Okay.
so not anything recent.
Let's see what else. The same week that uh, Tom Kiefer's here, which is May 5th, you got the Iron Maiden movie coming out, the 8th,
All right.
right? Triumph starts their reunion tour May 28th. They're going to be here in Jersey. I'm going to go to that.
I actually don't think that's coming to Southern California, if I'm not
Um,
mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think they've got Western dates yet.
okay. Then we got David Lee Roth. He's doing his thing in June 5th. He'll be out here.
Gonna ruffle some feathers? Hard pass. But
Okay. I've seen some of the footage, and his band, his background singers are amazing. I know Dave doesn't, quite have the vocals and the power he used to have, but they're killing it.
Yeah, that's what our
I love David Lee Roth. I will always
Mhm.
love David Lee Roth. Van Halen is always David Lee Roth. I
Right.
just can't I can't wrap my head around what the fuck it is he's doing right now.
Our friend Erica saw the show and she was very defensive. Like it was so great. But acknowledging, yes, it was the backing band. If he had been there without the backing band, then it
Yeah.
probably would have been hard. The same. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. Same last time I saw Jeff Tate.
Mm.
And again, I love Jeff Tate. Love him. Love his vocals. But anyway, enough about Jeff Tate. Yeah,
You know what? I saw Jeff Tate, and I've been watching Jeff Tate for quite some time. And there were some years where it was like, ugh, like what the hell's been going on? I don't know what's in the water, what's been happening. The last two times I saw Jeff Tate, he nailed it.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
all right.
All right.
Awkward
So
pause.
Oh,
no, I'm just listening.
look, you know that Queensryche is one of my favorite bands.
One
Sure.
of my favorites too.
And
Same. Yeah. I mean, he's one of the greatest singers of all time.
Of course.
He'll never be kicked out of that pantheon. And he's one of the
Yeah.
greatest singers of all time.
sure,
Last time I saw him, like I felt like the band carried him a little bit. This
interesting.
so that's all. I mean, it was on the Mindcrime tours, magical to hear that album all the way through with him and his fantastic band. It was magical. Like I have zero complaints. It was a magical experience. Like,
My memory is him playing Rage for Order and Operation Mindcrime back to back all the way through in order. Fantastic show.
He did that. He did that in recent years too, right?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. It's been
Yeah.
probably 4, maybe 5 years ago, but
Okay.
absolutely small little place here in Orange County, the Coach
Mm.
House, it's like almost like a dinner, like you go and you sit and you could get food,
Oh, that's cool.
whatever. Just that's my lasting memory. If I never have to see him again,
I
I'll
mean, those are my two favorite Queensryche albums. I don't know which one's my number one. It's tough. I switch every once in a while because I love both.
same. Yeah, same. So yeah, that sounds like perfection. Absolutely. Hear those two
yes.
records. The only thing I'll throw out there that you didn't mention, Rich, is that we've got Death Angel coming through here doing Act
Oh
Three.
yeah, they do. They're coming here, I think, in April too.
So that's Act Three is my favorite record of theirs. So I will intend to go to that.
Are you going to
Halloween
go
is
see
not
it?
coming to Phoenix. The last time they were through, I traveled to Las Vegas to see them. So that's just hard. So
Mhm.
they need to come to Phoenix.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite bands ever. But going to Vegas is it's a 5 hour drive or it's a flight.
Mhm.
That's rough.
Act Three is a great record, but it is no ultraviolence.
Yeah, Ultraviolence is great. I mean, I'm not gonna argue
And
against Ultraviolence, but Act Three is
Frolic Through the Park too is great. I mean, those three are pretty awesome.
Come on, have you heard the Colt Gin cover? Come on.
yeah. That was my first tape of theirs was Frolic Through the Park. I loved On Board and a bunch of songs on that record. Cold Gin, yeah, the Cold Gin cover. Road Mutants, Third Floor. It's a good tape.
Mhm.
Ultraviolence, Kill is One. Come on.
That's probably
Yeah,
one of the tapes I
Ultraviolence
gave
is
you.
killer.
Yeah, Ultraviolence is one of the best instrumentals of all time. I wrote an article
100%.
about that.
100%.
I wrote an
Well,
article.
now we have to mention the side project. Come on. The organization, that first record, get out of here.
I
Yeah, I
don't think I've
remember.
heard it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember you were on the phone one night. You were like, "Hey, you got to check out the organization." I still need to do that, so I will do that.
the
What's it called?
second, it's called The Organization, and
That's the group?
it's a self-titled, yes, it's a
Okay.
self-titled record.
Right.
Just, I'll link it to you, Rich.
Okay.
Dig
It's
deep
Death
into it.
Angel. It's
It's
Death
the
Angel.
dudes from Death Angel?
Yes, a few
Okay.
dudes from
Okay.
Yeah,
Death Angel. I
Cool.
don't I don't know what happened or why.
Okay.
Second record, it's called Savor the Flavor.
Okay.
Doesn't have the same power and punch. I know some people like that, but
Right.
um the self-titled debut record of the organization is a great underground metal hit.
Awesome.
Jack's
All right.
looking. Come on,
I'm,
Jack.
I'm,
Looking
Come
it
on.
up.
Jack's
I'm
looking it up.
looking. I'm looking at. Well, I mean, I remember it. I remember it came out because they had some internal strife. One of the guys was in a really horrific car accident, and Death
Hmm.
Angel kind of went on hiatus, and some of them went on and did the organization. And I shouldn't say I'd never heard it. I heard it back in the day. For whatever, it didn't stick with me back in the day. But I was a young stupid back then. So I'm sure I'll be
So it
much
came out
smarter
in the
now.
90s then? Came out in the 90s sometime?
93, looks
Yeah,
Okay.
like.
sounds right.
All right. So, shall we move on, Jack, to speak about your
Well, wait a
latest
minute.
project?
We were going to talk about a few things, and I feel like I need to shoehorn in a couple of things that aren't live related. Um,
Cool.
New music, something to turn you on to. Recently did an interview and I reviewed his record, Ian Highhill. He is from Finland. Um, Hard rock metal icon.
Mhm.
This is an entirely self-produced record. Pretty fantastic. I think it's kind of an instant classic for me. Not as hard as some of the metal acts that we've sort of talked about, but I think it's pretty fantastic. Um, but I would be remiss if I did not shoehorn into this conversation that Elder has released news about a new record. I believe the name of the record is called Through Zero. It is a follow-up to Innate Passage. So far, sounds like a very worthy spiritual successor. Definitely a little more on the prog side. They have announced European tour dates. They're going to be announcing a US tour supporting this record as a headliner. If you'll recall, they supported Tool the last time Tool came through here and happened to catch that show when they're in town. So something to expand your mind. Um, I can't remember the name of the song. I'll have to look it up. But it is Elder, and the record is called Through Zero. Hang on, I'm looking it up. I'm coming very close to telling you
I
the name
think
of the
it,
song.
well, I'll jump in. I think it is the title track. I've queued it up to listen to because yeah, I'm a converted or I'm a big fan. Mark introduced me to them. I'm definitely looking forward to their new record. I
Yeah.
think it is the
I
title
don't know,
track.
so check them out.
Yeah, I don't want to say very proggy, but prog metal for sure. But yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean you will not be disappointed. It's definitely Innate Passage is it was my most played record for 2025. So let's just,
Oh,
or I'm sorry, 2024, excuse me. Going into 2025, and it was probably my most played record in 2025 as well. So toot toot, I got in my
your 2 cents?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, great band. I was saying before we started going, I'm a little shame on me, but with everything else I got going on, the book and Slam and everything else, I'm a little bit less in the loop than I usually am at this time of year. But I will just give a shout out. Today, heard the advance of the new Corrosion of Conformity, and it sounds like a return to form for them. I really enjoy, and I haven't even finished going through it, but the first half of the record just absolutely. I'll talk like the kids today. It slaps. So new
Oh,
corrosion of conformity. It's called Bad Man, Good God, Bad Man. So
So which corrosion of conformity is this in the vein of?
it's it harkens to Deliverance. I would say
Okay.
it's probably, I mean, and maybe not as Deliverance to me is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. But it's that's the corrosion of conformity that I hear. That one and then the follow-up record to Deliverance. That's what I'm hearing. But good stuff, man. Like good band, good stuff.
all right. Are we moving on?
All right, yeah, we've been talking a while. Let's move on to let's talk about me.
To
It's all about
you.
me. It's all about me.
So we are here because you wrote a book. So do tell, how long have you been working on this book and what's the title?
You might be able to see it in the background. I got Lemmy perched on top of it. It is well, it's a science fiction book. It's called Dread Spherical. It's by me. Um, there is, hang on, let me find it. Let me find the chapter. Okay, no one wants to watch me flip through a book. There's a chapter called A Dangerous Meeting, so there are some little references in there. One of the
Hmm.
first, the phrase "rage for order" appears early on, so there's some metal influences in there. So I mean, the quick story is, I was in on the very early days of podcasting. I mean, not like Adam Curry early, but I was there pretty early on, and I was part of the first wave of podcasts writers. Like a lot of people started releasing their books through the podcast medium. So I
Mm.
released something called Spherical Tomy, and that got some, it got some on a small level, in a small way. It was very successful. It was kind of a cult hit.
What was the year that you did this?
That was 2006 that Spherical Tomy came out, or 2005 Spherical Tomy came out. Holy shit! Yeah,
Mm.
2005 Spherical Tomy came out, and like I said, it was great. It was a great experience. People enjoyed it, and then 21 years went by, and so what I decided to do is just take the same premise, same character. I kind of over that course of time, I just kind of fell out of love with the original book. So I just said, I'm just going to scrap. I'm not going to write a sequel or a prequel or anything like this. So Dread Spherical is same characters, basically the same universe, but just starting over. It's kind of I was actually did a podcast interview about it last night, and I said, you think about how Battlestar Galactica basically rebooted, and it didn't, it kept a lot of the stuff from the first one, but you're starting over, and some characters are very different. I mean, even for that one, Starbuck was a different gender even, so it's like that. You don't need to know anything about the original, but yeah, so it's a Dread Spherical. It's got lots of action, uh, lots of hopefully some deep thoughts and big questions. And I don't know. I'm very proud of the book that I came out with. It's long time coming, but yeah, I'm thrilled to have released it here in 2026, and hopefully people will check it out on ebook or paperback, as I was just showing off the paperback, or um, I will be recording a podcast version of it as well. So that's I don't know. If you have questions, yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. That's my elevator pitch.
Well, if you need some voice actors or something, I mean, Rich and I can fill in for
Yeah.
you.
I would love it. Yeah, yeah. I've had some people reach out and say, "Do you need voice actors?" And I've recorded the first chapter and the prologue, so I've already done those. So those characters already have my voice. But
Mm.
yeah, you guys are more than welcome. I'll send you guys stuff. You can record your lines.
So
Um,
Why?
as a writer or even as a reader, because I'm assuming that maybe you're like me, reading was sort of my gateway into writing, but what writers influenced you to get started, or when you write, what are you thinking about, or what writers are you thinking about? Excuse me.
yeah, that's a big question. I would say, as a kid, I mean, I was always a reader, like as far back as I can remember. The thing that really spurred me into a super geek was Tolkien. Reading Lord of the Rings at age 11. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. That made me a super nerd, where I wanted to play D&D and write. And then over the years, I got really into cyberpunk authors. William Gibson to me is as good as it gets. I love Bruce
Yep.
Sterling. I've met Bruce Sterling. Um, you know, some of the greats in that area. What and Jesus, the Snow Crash, Neil Stevenson,
Neil Stevenson.
yeah, absolute genius. I love those guys. And actually, I've said, I know the guy who recently passed away, and some people had, some criticisms of his public persona, but as an author, I discovered the Hyperion books by Dan Simmons in the 90s, which again, mind-blowing, great stuff. So those guys, but I mean, in the other direction, I absolutely love guys who really write a great paragraph, like John Steinbeck or Cormac McCarthy or Ray Bradbury. Like I love they can write anything, and the paragraph will have you mesmerized no matter what it is. So I really tried to have that in mind too. I tried to write that way too. So yeah, that's kind of my answer to that. That's where I was coming from. But I'd say as far as what this book is like, I mean, it's set on other worlds, and it is science fiction, has a lot of science fiction elements to it. So I mean, it has. I don't think it resembles the Hyperion books at all, but it's kind of that kind of science fiction. Like it's got a lot of fantastical ideas and set in other worlds. There's a little bit of pew 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 and spaceship stuff. a little bit.
I was going to say, is it like Star Wars universe? Is it like Lord of the Rings universe? Is it like Stephen King universe? Like, give me a universe you could possibly compare it to.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars because it's not Star Wars relies so much on the mysticism and the the magic of the Force,
Right.
and there is some mystical stuff going on here, but not to that degree. Shouldn't even say mystical. There's some stuff where it's kind of hard to explain, maybe a little bit. I don't want to say supernatural because that sounds like ghosts, but there's a little bit of
Hmm.
stuff that's unexplainable. Um, but no, actually can't really draw a parallel to because and it's not like The Expanse, which is The Expanse feels like like it really happened. It's really happening 200 years from now, or
Hmm.
even it's not even Star Trek because it's nothing like the Federation or anything like that. I honestly I don't really know because I mean it's a little bit of again I hadn't thought about this at all when I was writing it or even until you just said it, Rich, but there's maybe a little bit of Battlestar Galactica because there's no Earth, no one's going to Earth. There's no Earth in the picture, but it is humans on another world. So, but I don't know, it's kind of
Kind of
restricted to
like
these two
kind of
places.
like space travel type of stuff, maybe.
No, because it's set between there's a moon. The premise of the book is that there's Musashi Moon, and then there's the planet Cerberus, and they're kind of like a hot, cold war going on between the two.
Okay.
Tommy, the main character, is a spherical programmer, and so she's a battle coder, which is what they call them too, where they engage. They're part of the combat, but they do hacking and basically fighting from they're spherical, where they're doing the
Okay.
programming.
Right.
So she's basically the hot shit. She's like the best of the best. So she's caught up in this war, but she's kind of just it's trying to get away from all the warlords who are involved in the war. So that's kind of it's like I said, it's not really far flung. There's no interstellar travel or anything. It's really
Right.
set between this planet and this moon, and those are really the locations. There's some planet side locations, and
You know what
the
I'm kind
moon.
of
And
getting? Kind of vibes. Matrix.
um, you know, the first book. Actually, I've got the first one here. Like, I had a blurb on the first one. They actually called it cyberpunk. So like
Okay.
the Matrix, like William Gibson. So yeah, there is absolutely some cyberpunk element to it for sure.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I don't reject that at all. If someone says, hey, it's kind of cyberpunk, but yeah, I mean, hopefully it's fun and thought provoking, and hopefully the action scenes resonate. Like to me, they're a lot of fun.
Go
Oh,
ahead, Mark. Got
when
one?
when uh when I think of writers and when I think of my favorite writers, there's always sort of something about what they do. And I'll give you an example. Um, Doug Adams. Doug Adams wrote some incredible books, but I think the thing that was great about Doug Adams is Doug Adams could connect the reader to an emotion of something. There was, like if you look at Marvin or if you look at even the beginning of the book, Arthur Dent, um, you know, his planet's getting demolished and they kind of start at his cottage. And I think the Prosser was pissed, or there's something like that. Or if you look at like um, Terry Pratchett, who happens to be my favorite author, Terry Pratchett,
Mhm.
there's sort of that dry humor, and you can sort of wrap that around any sort of genre. Um, so you as a writer, when you look at sort of the action, William Gibson, the reason he's the father of cyberpunk is he was able to describe things that didn't exist. He built worlds, Ono Sendai decks, jacking into cyberspace and predicting things that weren't happening then that are kind of happening now. So as a writer, as you sort of set the scene and as you do stuff, how do you set off the action, or how are you approaching describing things as an author?
Yeah, I mean, you just named three of the most incredible writers of all time, and what I love about all three of them, including William Gibson, especially in his later books, all three of them will just, you'll be reading these incredible descriptions of these things, and then they'll just drop this profound truth, and you'll fall
Hmm.
out of your chair reading it. You say, "Oh my gosh, I now look at the world differently," especially Pratchett. Um,
Yep.
I won't. You're going to get me in trouble, Mark, because I'm not trying to compare myself to those guys, but
No, and
I aspire to
that's not
that.
what I was asking you.
No, no.
I just, I'm trying to connect people to what it is that your writing style is. And look, yes, those are low-hanging fruit and those are easy things for me to say. And I'm not trying to compare or contrast, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to understand what can they expect, out of your writing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good question. I'm just kidding. Like obviously, hopefully no one would read this or watch this and think that I'm comparing myself to those guys, but I aspire
No,
to that,
I
absolutely.
made the comparison or I made the
Yeah,
contrast to that. So please
yeah.
don't get Jack in trouble. Buy his book and read his book and leave him great reviews, please.
Yes, please, all of us. Yeah, so to answer that is that yeah, like I said, because of I look at Steinbeck is another one I mentioned earlier, who just like you'll just read one page. You can open a page at random and just be moved by the writing. So I aspire to that, and but I also try not to disappear up my own ass as a writer. I try not to be like so flowery, so I do try to have some really good prose, so that it's poetic, it's as flowery as it needs to be, and not a stitch more. But it's good. It's pacing and characters. Like that's what people are there for. They're not there to read your poetic prose. They're there to get a good story with characters they care about and to be entertained. So that's as I was writing it, I was hyper aware of if this is getting, if this stretches, there's too much exposition or too much explanation. There's got to be something exciting's got to happen. We got to mix it up a little
Yeah.
bit. So I think that's kind of what you're going to get in Dread Spherical. So I guess there you go. If this is my humble insecure thing, if you hit a stretch where you're like, what the fuck is happening here? Keep going to go a couple more pages and you'll get to some excitement.
Yeah, it's like Asimov. I love Asimov and I recognize that he's a great writer. Reading Asimov is like watching paint dry in a lot of ways. I couldn't, like I understand the profound big thing behind the foundation books, but it's like it was tough for me to get to. But that tough for me to get through. But that's just me as a writer, or perhaps, us as a generation with everything being sort of, everything is sort of movie type action, there's a lot of movement. And I think writing has changed a lot because of that. There would be none of the writers that we talked about without Bradbury or Asimov or, Heinlein or any of those guys. But again, all of them had such very different devices to get to things. The Heinlein books, regardless of what you think of Heinlein himself, fantastic stories. Or Joel Haldeman, The Forever War, they're just absolutely fantastic books. But they were very
Yeah.
easy to read because there was a pacing to them. There was always something, as you say, sort of around the corner. So I think that that's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, no, thanks.
here's a
Yeah.
good question for the both of you then. What is the good, a reasonable length of a book where you get the story and you get enough character development and action without being put to sleep and it's too long? What's like a good length of a book, if you'd have to say?
Well, I would say I don't mind length actually. I mean, actually, as I'm getting older and my free time is shrinking, which is not a trend I like, but that sometimes now is a factor. But I mentioned Neil Stephenson earlier. He wrote a series that is technically about 4,000 pages.
Yeah.
You know,
A
the
series of how
cycle
many books?
four.
Four
Yeah,
books, about
Books.
1,000 pages each. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Wow. All right.
Cryptonomicon and then the System of the World, which and again, probably the most impressive thing I've ever read. I probably couldn't do it now, honestly, with my time, my scattered attention span. But I'm so
Is
glad
it
I read
just
it.
too, but is it just too much? Is it just too long? And you could say it's like watching a movie that's too long, and you could say you could trim off 20 or 30 minutes, and it's a better movie. Could you do that with that book, and it's a better read?
I don't know if you could, honestly. It's like Shogun. Shogun, I read when I was in college. Shogun's literally 1,200 pages. But I mean, and I remember thinking every single word was a masterpiece. When it ended, I remember being wanting more. Um,
Okay.
so I think, yeah, I think, when you're doing a good job with pacing and keeping it interesting and your reader's committed, then I
Right.
think length doesn't matter. But however, yeah, and no jokes about that statement
Jack,
there.
length always matters, but
Mark,
Yes.
what do you say about this?
well, a good book is going to take you on a journey, and you're not going to realize that that's happening.
Right, but that's
And
hard because some like I said, sometimes it's too much and too much blah blah blah, and you get
well,
bored. Like for
I'll get
Right.
example, real quick before you give me your
yeah,
opinion,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to compare this to a Godzilla movie because I always have the same problem. Like Shin Godzilla. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
When Godzilla goes through the three or four forms until he gets into that final terrifying, he's all the reds coming out of his skin and everything. Way too long, way too much blah blah blah. I don't care about the board meetings and more board meetings and more talking and oh my god. I was like, where's the pacing was just terrible for me. There was too many short increments of action or monster screen time in between all the talking and the story and I'm like, this is terrible. Just get to it or divide it up more, give me more, you know what I mean? So how do you do that with a book?
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. Um, my first example would be something like Jurassic Park, the first
Mhm.
book by Michael Crichton.
I read that a long time ago. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The book actually has some very sort of technical, deep science things, and there were parts of that book where it was like, okay, page, 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 because it was hard science,
Yeah.
but it kept moving. It kept me moving through the
Right.
book. Another great example would be something like Dune,
Hmm.
Yes. Thank
where
you.
where Dune has a fucking glossary of
Yeah.
this is what the Quetzalcoatl Haderach is, or this is what
Yeah.
a Gom Jabbar is, or like the thing, like okay, you're going back to the beginning of the book and you're
Mhm.
looking at this thing. The thing with Dune is once you kind of got in tune with sort of the language, Dune flowed like butter.
Hmm.
So the answer is it depends. And there are other authors out there, Clancy. I got nothing against Tom Clancy, but you know what? Towards the end of his career, there was a lot of gratuitous stuff that would happen in Tom Clancy books. You know, so and so picks up his Gucci bag and gets into his BMW 3 Series, stuff like that. So I don't
Hmm.
know that I don't know that density is kind of created equal.
Yeah.
Going back to Asimov, Asimov wrote the Foundation trilogy. Those are great books. They're very profound. They're very meaningful. But for me, it was like swimming through concrete because it just didn't, it just
Yeah.
didn't hit me the way that I need. And I'm sure don't send me hate mail. I understand, but there are some people that there's other things that I could sit in one afternoon and I could probably read through two Terry Pratchett books. I could read two or three,
And what's the length of those pages? How long?
um,
How,
couple hundred
They're about,
pages at most.
yeah,
oh,
three to
so
four hundred.
that's like
Yeah,
good, right? 400
yeah,
pages. Yeah, you get in,
sure,
you get
Yeah.
out, and you're good.
sure.
Yeah.
So anything that's 200 to 400
Yeah.
pages, like you should be able to get through that fairly quickly. Robert Lynn Asprin, the Myth Inc. series, like
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic, very easy to read.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so,
Jack, how
it,
long? I didn't get your book yet. How long is your book? And did you think it was long enough or too long, or you think you should have trimmed some of that?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll leave that to readers. I feel like it's exactly the length it needs to be. It's 403 pages.
Okay.
Um, and, and like Mark was saying, yeah, Dune is a great example because Dune is one of the best books I've ever read. And now here's where I'm going to get the hate mail. I've tried to reread it and I've struggled rereading it. And
Hmm.
but it's still one of the best books I've ever read because it's just brilliant in every way. It's a masterpiece from the first note to the final outro. But yeah, so this book, I did there was some of that the Jurassic Park thing in Dread Spherical because I have to explain how the spherical programming and spherical combat works because it is my
Mm,
own thing. It's not comparable anywhere else. It's never been done anywhere else. So
mm.
I have to explain it, and so I have to be careful not to get too bogged down into describing it because otherwise, you're gonna be like, oh, that's interesting. It's okay, dude, get on with it. Like get back to the fighting or get back to the character progression. Like, and that's another thing is, I know we all like action stuff, and I'm hyping up the action, but when I talk about Steinbeck or even a lot of Hemingway or a lot of those Lost Generation guys, or you're talking about The Great Gatsby or like that stuff, there's not a whole lot of action, but it's still riveting. Or you take like a Cormac McCarthy where things happen, but you'll go like 100 pages of just describing a guy walking through the desert, but it's still brilliant. It's challenging, but now this is not. I'm not at the Cormac McCarthy. I'm not in that camp or genre or million or at that level in any way. But yeah, I feel like it has good pacing. I worked hard on the pacing, so hopefully that's it. Honestly, if I were to say, I mean, shouldn't say this, but I'll say that if I think because some of the concepts I tried to go for, I was aspiring to do like William Gibson, Dan Simmons type stuff. So some of the concepts are a little complex. So I mean, it might be challenging. Some people might be like at first, like I'm not sure what's going on, and it'll become clear because again, I mean, we talked about William Gibson. Like that's one thing I loved about Neuromancer is that the first 50 pages, you're like, what is an Onosendai deck? What the fuck is this? What is he talking about? But then you get into the world, and then it's like, oh, of course. Well, of course she's going to use her razor wire at that point. Of course, like so. That's what I'm hoping with Dread Spherical. I'll hopefully accomplish that. Whereas you're reading, you're going, at first you're like, seems cool. There's some fighting going on, but I need to understand what's going on in this world. And then as you get into the world, you go like, okay, I'm fully engaged, and it all makes sense. So
Count
Kind of like,
Zero by Gibson is a great analog to that. Like Count Zero is probably one of the more harder Gibson books to sort of understand because I think he's reaching in that book where I think, Neuromancer was probably, Neuromancer Johnny Mnemonic. I know Mnemonic was probably more short stories type of stuff, but I think that was built that was world building at this point. And what I was
right.
going to say is William Gibson does a great job of talking about something that doesn't exist, but he talks about it like it exists. Like, ah, jacking into I keep wanting to say the Matrix, but jacking into cyberspace with your Ono Sendai deck and, this and that and the other. But if you look at some of his later books, if you look at like Idoru or if you look at Virtual Light, that's when he really got into conceptual things that he had to explain. But he wasn't gratuitous in explaining it up front. He would use it as a device in the book, but then later on you'd get the explanation of what it actually was. At the end of I think it's Adoru where the girl pops out of the microwave or whatever it is, the transporter device in the convenience store. Sorry, spoiler if you haven't read the book.
Yeah.
Um, but something to that effect, or the post-crime or pre-crime technology that's in sort of virtual light, right? It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but I think that's the movie impact, right? Everybody expects to kind of go into a movie theater and it's like nonstop superhero bullshit action for an hour and a half, and then everybody kind of goes home. Like there's no story in that. So I respect the fact that you're trying to tell a story in a part of all of this, and that you're not just writing something that's just a movie.
Well, yeah, thank you. And again, you're citing all these things that I love. I love, William Gibson's later stuff. I love that Bridge trilogy, even though a lot of people
Yes,
don't. And I loved The Peripheral. I loved pattern recognition, where you're
pattern
right, he's going a
recognition.
little more high concept. But yeah, and I mean, I think you'll like the book, Mark. I think you'll like the stuff that you like. If I succeeded in my mission, and I'm here to promote it, so I'll say I succeeded in producing the book that tells it that's in that genre. I think you'll
When
dig
I
it.
when I get my autographed copy and your glossy that I can put on my wall behind me, I will gladly sing your praises.
All right, that's coming. That'll come. You got to come out to Bike Week, and you'll get your copy.
My chaps are at the dry cleaner as we speak.
Ah,
Nice. Not David Lee Roth chaps. Not to bring it back to that. No, we
Oh,
don't
I'm gonna
need
fucking wear the David Lee Roth chaps, and you're gonna like it.
just
from
with pants
where? Van
underneath.
Halen or Yankee Rose video? Wait,
Does
was
it
he wearing
matter?
No, he was wearing spandex in the Yankee Rose video.
Spandex, I believe, yes.
Yeah. So where was he wearing the chaps? What was that?
I
Let me
believe it
check.
was it was either Panama or Jump video where they're arresting him and he's wearing chaps and
Oh
he's carrying a
yeah,
bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was Panama.
pretty
Yeah.
freaking. That's rock
yes.
and roll, man. That's rock and roll.
Um, yeah. So, well, all right. Well, I'll field questions
What
all
else,
day. I
Jack?
can talk about this
What
all
else can you
day.
tell us?
Well, yeah. So it's out. Like I said, it's out as of right now. As of this taping, because I'm old. As of this taping, it's on. It's only on Amazon. You can get the paperback or the
Which is
ebook from
March
Amazon.
30th today, by the way.
Yeah, March 30th, 2026. Yeah, it released on March 24th, 2026, and you can get it through those two places. I'm Some people have asked me about if they can get it from me directly, so I'm looking into that. I'm looking into I probably can't start a shop out of my garage, but I'm looking into getting it to people who don't or can't or aren't going to use Amazon. There are other ways to do it. So I'm looking into that for sure. But I appreciate it. I mean, I'll say the last thing I'll say. I mean, I'll ask you guys. Like I said, I can talk about this all day if you have questions, but the reaction has just been amazing. Just so many friends have come out of the woodwork and posted pictures themselves with the book that they ordered, and people have reposted me talking about it. You guys having me on, I know we do this show anyway, but you guys, Rich suggested we do this to talk about Dread Spherical. Like it's, I'm. The funny thing about me, this is a little mental issue of mine, is I have a hard time looking at numbers. Like Rich has sometimes said that, like, hey, do you look at the numbers on how do we do? I'm like, I can't. It just drives me up the wall. I can't. It makes me crazy. And I was like, oh, last month we had 200 views, and this month we had 199. What happened? So I can't. I'm not looking at the book sales, but it feels great to have all these people. Whatever the numbers are, it feels great to have all these people responding to the book, talking positively about it. But yeah, and as Mark said earlier, if you want to help me out, of course, buying the book is a help, but post a review at Amazon. Preferably a positive review, but reviews at Amazon help the cause, and yeah, talk about it, help spread the word. That helps to spread the word of the book. Yeah, but I guess the last thing I'll say is it does have some sci-fi stuff to it, but I believe you can enjoy it even if you're not a sci-fi reader.
Mhm.
As someone who Rich paid to be here to prop you up, I just want to give you the highest compliment that I can. So look, much in this world is accessible. You have so many things at your fingertips, and there's a there's a process that's involved with creating a lot of things. There's a lot of people involved. And we talk about this in music, right? There's just something to music that's just authentically created. It comes from the heart, it comes from a great place. And the thing that I love about this is it's just you. You're the guy who's sort of spinning this tale and creating this. And that's worth something. There's something that's important about that, and we need to prop those things up. So, Jack is very accessible. I know where he lives, so if you want his address, I'll send it to you. So if you see him on the street, please treat him like a rock star. Throw yourself at him. He loves that kind of attention. Social media, scantily clad, whatever it is, alluring with the book. Please make Jack feel very successful with this
And if it's
because
terrible, throw a tomato at him.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
If you see him at a show, buy him a shot of whiskey, pal around with him, take a picture because he's very accessible like that. And he loves that attention. He loves being called out for that kind of stuff. But it's most important to go to my original point. This is an original work that's coming directly from him. And you know what? We have to prop that up. We have to applaud that because that's amazing. And there's a lot of shit that's floating around right now that's not being created by human hands. So,
Yeah, AI is all over the place,
gotta
man. Have
get,
you
gotta,
seen?
gotta give you the golf clap, dude.
Not that I'm condoning AI because it is terrible for music, but man, have you guys seen the AI that fans have made for Star Wars stories that happen in between and after Return of the Jedi? What they've done?
I have not.
Mark, have
No.
you seen any of this?
I haven't seen the only thing I'm seeing are the cat videos, right? Where now they're doing these chopsaki, the karate movies where the cat shows up and he's a ninja and he beats the crap out of the guy. Those are the ones that so algorithms. It just tells you what we're seeing. So no,
This
I haven't seen the Star Wars
they're
stuff.
they're amazing. Some of the audio and some of the um the natural motion of a human is a little questionable still. It's not perfect, but if you want to see stories like the Heir to the Empire book, do you guys know that stories? The stories that
Yep.
they wrote,
Yep.
Yeah.
they're calling them legends now. There's fans that are taking those stories. So you got Han Solo, Luke, Leia, the twins, all that stuff, but with Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Ahsoka show and what they've done with the Mandalorian, and they're crossing it over together with the characters that we grew up on from Return of the Jedi and their continued story. So Ahsoka's crossing over with Luke Skywalker now. It's like stuff that we would love to see, and they're doing it with AI, and it's so. The stories are great. Some, like I said, some of the animation and everything, the way it's creating real people is a little off. Some of the wording with the mouth and the dialogue, or just the natural human, the person being there on set doing it is a little off at times, but a lot of it is just it's awesome. I'm not for AI, but if it works right and it can do something like that, because we never got those stories, right? We just had to read them in books.
Uh, I have a theory,
Yeah.
and my theory is this.
Mm.
There used to be a very high bar to get over to cross into content creation. There were people that were actively filtering, think of it in the time when we were young and the music that we cover and the bands that we like. Like
Yeah.
you had to go and hand your tape to every record label up and down
Yeah.
Sunset
There's no
Boulevard or
there's no camcorders. No way to make it easy.
correct. And some people got turned down multiple times.
Mm.
And I'm not saying I like that. I'm not saying that that's fair. And
Yeah.
the same thing for movies, right? So now we live in a
Yeah.
world, and Jesus, please just save me the hate mail. I get it. I understand. I think fandom in a lot of places has gone totally and completely toxic. That fans get so involved in things that they think they own the rights to guide the intellectual property.
Mm.
And this has turned toxic in a lot of places where fans have reacted badly to things that people are just trying. Like, hey, we're just trying to tell a story here. Whatever the details are, whatever the identity
Mm.
politics, like, fuck all of that stuff. Like, there are just fans that feel like they are too much in control of what's happening. If I get pissed because Jack isn't handling cyberspace and doesn't have Ono Sendai in his universe, like, do I really have the right to sort of boycott him or tell him that his creative is crap? It's not. But I think, that's what we're getting at. And the thing that scares me about what you're talking about is now you have a completely unfiltered and unchecked ability to create almost movie quality content that
So close.
that
Like
yeah,
I
that
said, some of it's off. Some of the human naturalness of characters, that you're creating AI is definitely needs polishing and stuff. But look, they did it with the Ant-Man movie. Remember when they made Michael Douglas younger?
hmm
I mean, it
Yeah.
was you couldn't tell the difference. Or Luke Skywalker when he showed up in the Mandalorian show.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. You can't even tell the difference. So I think
But
there's a little exception to the rule if it can work in certain spots.
I don't disagree, but I think what I'm saying is this.
Mhm.
What if fans got together and they made an Overkill record? And
Right.
it was a spiritual successor to Evil Never Dies.
Couldn't do it. I can't accept it because it's not Dee Dee and
But
Blitz and the
but
guys.
but what if AI puts this thing together
No,
and
I
it
know what
is
you're
a
saying. I had a feeling
and
you
it
were going to
is
go
a
there.
note perfect second record to Evil Never Dies.
I can't do it.
Like, and it's beautiful and it's awesome and everybody loves it because that's what they think that it should be.
Jack, would you accept that I couldn't do it?
I wouldn't listen, but I think Mark's point is dead on. And no, but I will say, if the three of us got together in the basement and said, let's make a because Years of Decay is our favorite record of all time.
Thank you. Years of
Let
Decay.
let's make a
Yeah.
tribute to Years of Decay or Taking Over, as Rich and I always geek about that one. But whatever. If we said we're gonna make the spiritual successor because we're super fans,
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a super fan. I don't think there's anything wrong with writing fanfic. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying I'd love to make a fun little Star Wars story.
Right.
But Mark is 100% right, and I'm sorry I even said that. But
Can we isolate that, please, so I can put that on my social media?
Mark is 100%. There's some real danger of dipshits being like, I reject, with Star Wars, I reject the new movies because I hate Rey or I hate this or that.
This
So
is
what I
not canon.
so
Like,
I'm
go
replacing
fuck
it.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm replacing it with what I've decided is canon. Like, for me, I'll just say I love the Alien franchise. I love it to pieces, but
Mhm.
I really only love the first two movies. I mean, the rest of the movies, I mean, sure, the Alien Earth show was finally good, but everything else that's come out in the Alien universe, I reject. But I'm not going to say it didn't exist. It's crap. I reject it. It doesn't exist, and it's
Even if it's done respectably, like the last two actually were pretty good. What was it called? Romulus, and what's the other one?
Prometheus.
yeah, not a
There was
fan.
another
Something,
one in there
something.
too. I think there's two.
Yeah,
I
there were
don't know.
three.
They don't exist in my world, so I.
Actually, they kind of are good. I mean, it's not like they went off the rails and tried to do something completely left field. It's
They could have taken Aliens and it could have been like Fast and Furious, and they could have made fucking 10 of those movies where it's nothing but aliens and acid and bullets and
against
explosions
the army.
and
Yeah,
shit, and it would be great. It would be fucking awesome. And
yeah, true.
I know nobody wants to hear that, but still, and I think that there's there's a like fandom has just changed, and if I hear like that's not in canon, or if I hear people
Mhm.
arguing over shit like that, like I'm gonna vomit. And you know what, I have to apologize. I am sorry, Overkill, that's not the name of the record. It is The Years of Decay. It's not Evil Never
Okay,
Dies, but that is a
right.
great song that closes the record, if I'm not mistaken.
Love
I'm
it. One of
Yeah,
my
old.
yeah.
favorite Overkill songs.
I'm old. It is what it is. But don't send me hate mail from Overkill fans. I'm in the boat with you guys. I'm
Um,
advocating for you. Anyways,
I'm writing my hate email right now. Hang on.
that's okay. I'm used to it. Please. You know what? I need the attention. There is no such thing as bad publicity. Um, but I just think we're at a very dangerous place. And you know what? I don't give a fuck if all the executives are quaking in their boots because they're seeing millions of dollars evaporate. Like I don't care about that.
Mhm.
That's not what my point is. My point is I think that there's just some people out there that feel like they're in too much control of a franchise, and stuff like this can 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 be very sort of, it can be damaging on both sides, because you know what, if the studios catch on to the fact that the the cool kids are going to slurp the stuff up because that's what they like, then they're going to make more of this shit, and they're going to,
Mhm.
that's not what it is that we need. Anyways, I have completely derailed the conversation. I
I
apologize.
know we totally went
Yeah.
off the rails, but that's okay.
Yes, if you
It's
want to edit, if you want to
Jason
edit this
Ford
out, we
Walker.
can start now. We have a new conversation. So, Jack, I wanted to ask you a question about this. Who's going to play the lead role in the movie adaptation of Dread Spherical?
Um, oh, that's a good question. It'll
This is
just be
like a
an
fan choice. Like if he could pick, you're saying who would he pick? Like the actor?
Well, I was just trying to erase all of the last 10 minutes of
Oh, okay.
bullshit that we just went through. But yes, in a perfect world, who would play
Yeah.
the
What's
lead?
your fan pick?
just some AI actress. No, no, I'm kidding. That's my no. Um, Probably. Um, well. because Tomi, the main character, is in her 20s, so probably I don't know right now. There are many great actresses, and she is of Japanese descent. Um, I would love, I mean, even that she's a little bit older now, and not Japanese descent, but has played Japanese characters before. Gonna bungle her name and apologies to everyone. Uh, Zhang Ji, who, from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, she's got a
Hmm.
great look for it. In fact, my wonderful cover designer, I think, I don't think she was going for Zhang Ji, but, there's a little bit of I don't know, a little bit of resemblance. I didn't request that. That was just what they came up with. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I would say I don't really have, you kind of stumped me. I don't have, ideally we'd have a great Japanese actress who could handle that. So I don't know who kind of hot in Hollywood right now who fits that or who, someone I could name. That's a good I'll have to look it up and get back to you. Maybe you guys can throw out some suggestions for,
When you're on your book tour and you stop here in LA,
Yeah.
I'll be the plant and I'll ask that question in the back.
okay.
I was
Well,
going to ask to maybe to go out on, is there anything happening around you, like a Barnes and Noble thing that you could do an appearance, or like a comic convention or something like that, or a, card trading, baseball card trading spot or something, that you can do an appearance and you can bring your books and sign it?
yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Rich. Yes. So actually, I'll be at Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is Phoenix Comic Con. It's in June. I'll be selling the book there. And I'll have some copies of Am I Evil?
Awesome.
And I'll have some copies of the original Spherical Tomy, even though I'm kind of disowning it a little bit. I'll have them there. I'll have some stuff I'll have some special stuff on the table, and I'll be talking about Slam stuff at the table as well, taking Slam contributions, that kind of thing. So Phoenix Fan Fusion, I am in talks with a local bookstore about doing. They basically have said we're going to do it. We're just trying to figure out the date. I'm going to do a book release party. So I'll announce that on social media when the details are finalized. I don't want to say it and then it doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm going to do a book release party at a local mom and pop bookshop. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm looking into some other stuff like that, and there's a couple other conventions in the Southwest that I'm looking at doing. I kind of just timing of everything and life and everything. There are there's a convention going on right now in Kansas City that should have been at. There's a convention. WonderCon was in Anaheim last week, which Mark should have been there. He could have driven up the street to it, but
Yeah.
I should have been there for that one as well. But yeah, so yes, I do have a couple, and reach out to me. I mean, I'm open for if you find me interesting enough, I'll go to your convention. But yeah, there's a couple in the Southwest that I plan on attending.
Is there a page, a Facebook page for the book, or is it everything just going to you on your Facebook page?
Yeah, I did not. I did not make a Facebook page or a website. I did that with Am I Evil, and it would, I didn't feel like it was worth all the effort and kind of splitting my focuses up. So. I talk about Slam. I'm sorry. I don't talk about it at Slam, as I was going to say, because I feel like that's a little bit of a conflict of interest, and Slam is a nonprofit. So I do talk about the book. You can go to jackmangan.com. I do have my own personal website, and there is news about the book there. And I'm going to expand that for my personal website a little bit. But yeah, there's my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page. Those are the places to find me and find information about it.
I graciously accept your offer to be your handler, manager, bodyguard at
There
personal appearances. So please just let me
you go.
know where to be, send the town car and the jet, and I'm happy.
All right, perfect. Well, you're a big shot, man. I'm going to be your umbrella holder. Like the guy who's in your entourage who holds the umbrella. But by the way, I got to say, Mark was busting everybody's chops earlier. I mean, I would love it. Yes, if you see me at a thing, come up and say hello and buy me a drink. But I do not love the attention. But by all means, if you see me at an event, feel free to say hi. And
I was not busting anybody's chops. Jack is secretly in love with the attention, and he he loves Jack Daniels straight up. So get him a big, huge double shot pour. Make sure to do one with him. Um, Jack and I are blood brothers because at the Ronnie Montrose show we did a shot of Jack together. Like 10 minutes later, he's like, Mark, don't ever make me fucking drink that ever again.
Well, hey, we don't want to lose that endorsement possibility. It was delicious. It was delicious. But yeah, and
You know,
Jack Daniels is in merger talks right now. They're not going to be sponsoring anything, so
it's
we're
good. I like the honey jack.
all right.
Did
Yeah,
you ever have honey jack, Mark?
yeah, Honey Jack's okay.
Yes, I like it.
Look, I have a theory, right?
Mm.
There is no such thing as bad whiskey. But whiskey is, like you have a whiskey in your hand. How bad can it be? Yes, there are a couple that I don't like and I don't drink personally, but for the most part, you put a whiskey in my hand, I'm a happy guy.
so the
So before we
pizza
wrap it
speaks.
up, guys, what do you want to plug before we go? Jack, you got your book, obviously. Mark, what do we got? What about you coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, well, out now. Well, here on the 30th of March. Whiskey Network is just closing up. I'm going to be releasing part two of my review with Michael Polson from Volbeat. We've got some great content lined up for the rest of the year. We have another band. Shout out to Kurt Maitland, who is an author in the whiskey world. He's got a cover story for Whiskey Network, another band that he went and visited. I apologize because I can't remember the name of the band, but if you check our socials, you can do that. I've got a couple of whiskey reviews that have come up. I've got a book review in the pipeline, courtesy of Jack. If he ever sends me a copy of his book, I'll review his book as well, but it's not Jack's book that I am reviewing. I told you a little earlier, I've got the Ian Highhill album review, and I've got the video interview with him.
And
And
where do these
that's
go to? Where do these go to, people? Where do they find you?
whiskeynetwork.net, and the nwothm.com is where you find all of my music reviews and support life in music eventually when Jack decides to release my content wherever that gets put up from that
Well, you got to
perspective.
send it. You got to send the content.
I know I need to send it, but nobody needs to. You need to be the bad guy, not me.
Okay. And actually, Rich, I want to hear your. I do want to paint one more quick thing for Support Life Music. I know we're way like. Thank you for still watching this. This happens when three of us get together. It's because Mark just doesn't shut the fuck up. But
I for the
I'm kidding.
first for the first 10 years of my life, I thought that's what my name was.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
I'm kidding, Mark. You're the best. Lots of love. But I do want to pimp Support Life Music. We're doing a lot of exciting stuff this year. Like I said, we've got Arizona Bike Week. We've got so much fun stuff, but something Mark and I have had a lot of conversations with, and other of the Support Life Music workers we've talked about is we're doing the Slam Awards this summer. So stay tuned. Announcements coming really, really soon. We've got a great sponsor, um, and so yeah, announcements coming soon about the Slam Awards and who's going to be honored with that. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a really, really cool thing, and it's hopefully going to make a difference and make an impact. So Slam Awards honoring people who are doing good deeds in this space. That's it. Yeah. And other than that, yes, of course, Dread Spherical. Amazon for now, Amazon. But stay tuned. Lots more news coming with Dread Spherical. 2026 is going to be a busy, exciting, fun year.
Rich, what do you got in the pipeline? I want to hear about everything that you're doing except new wave of tradition heavy metal because we compete in that space and I can't let you promote your stuff.
Well, I did review one of those kind of bands actually for Brave Words. Now that you throw it out there, have you heard of that band Stainless?
Uh-huh.
So I just reviewed that album for them, Lady of Lust and Steel.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm doing a couple other reviews for Brave Words. The Van Halen 5150 is getting reissued. So
I've
I'm
never
gonna
never heard of that record. What
do,
is that with a different singer? What I that's not a David Lee Roth record, right?
no.
Oh,
So I'm gonna do that. A couple others. I got to think of what it is, and then I'll probably be at a few of these shows I was mentioning off at the beginning. That I'll take some more pictures and do a review too. So that's the immediate future for April.
Cool. Well, and everyone should check out Rich's photos from the Testament, the Thrash of the Titans show. Testament, Overkill,
Yeah.
Destruction. Really, like, book level, Rolling
Thanks,
Stone
man.
level. photo
They're
quality.
on my page. They're at MetalAsylum.net on Facebook, and they're at the Brave Words Facebook group page. I posted them at the Metal Hall of Fame page, and Jimmy K, our friend from the Metal Voice, he shared them too. So it's all over the place.
Can I take some pictures or can I write a review for Metal Asylum for the LA show?
Sure. Yeah, turn them in, man.
Oh, can you
Put
get
them
me
on the
there
Facebook
first?
page.
Do you have, can you get me in first?
Possibly. I can maybe help you out with that. We'll see. Talk off air.
It's sold out. Come on, guys. I waited too long. I got
You
caught.
never know.
I
You might
got
jump down the
caught on
list.
this one.
You never know. We know people, you
And
know?
I'm upset. I feel helpless. Help me, please.
Well, maybe me or Jack can help you out with that. We'll try.
Yeah.
Jack has never helped me out with shit, so if you can help me out, that would be really great.
All right, I'm rescinding your pass to the Dare Up show then. All right,
All
well,
right,
thanks,
out, right?
guys. Yeah, we people are bored. Thank you, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks thanks, Rich, for suggesting this. I'm glad.
No problem. Happy to help. Happy to support you.
I hope everyone enjoys the book. Like I said, it means a lot to me, so hopefully it'll mean a lot to you.
It's a wild ride, soon to be Hollywood major motion picture, maybe sometime soon. But support small, support local, support authentic. Please, please, please go buy Jack's book. And for God's sakes, buy him a shot of whiskey or something, because he just comes out of his shell.
And the three of us should come back in April and we should talk about music that's come out and stuff, whatever's going on, right?
Oh, I'm all over that. I am all over that. Let's do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Cool. All right, peace out, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks again.